I'm Sarah Beth, and welcome to our Yin Yoga practice. You will need 2 blocks, 1 bolster, 1 blanket, a candle, and access to a wall at the end of the practice. Let's begin in our heart bench variation, reclining back on your bolster, your blocks. Just allow yourself to settle here in this space. And the theme of our Yin practice tonight is all about joy. So while you're resting here, maybe start to bring to mind some of your peak moments, memories, experiences with joy. And think about how joy has either stayed the same or changed throughout the course of your life. As you're thinking back, try to relax the muscles of your face, your shoulders. Just let everything soften here. So of course, you know I love to weave in different quotes, and I saw this one today that said, "Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that it is a joy to be alive." And sometimes being alive might feel a little burdensome, and it's easy to get weighed down by the responsibilities and obligations, but even if it's just for this practice tonight, can you shift your mindset to just being joyful to be here? See if you can gently move your attention to the rise and the fall of your breath. Maybe bringing one hand to your belly or just keeping your hands down by your sides, just feeling that gentle lift on the inhale and the drop back down on the exhale. And maybe just open yourself to the possibility of finding joy even in this simple breath. Notice if your mind starts to drift away, and gently coax it back to your breath. As always, as we start to dive deeper into the practice, just holding space if you'd like to set an intention or dedicate your practice to someone else, or perhaps repeat this affirmation to yourself. I open myself to joy, even in the midst of change. I open myself to joy, even in the midst of change. Where do you experience joy in your body, in your mind, in your heart? With your next inhale, gently start to peel your back off of your bolster, just finding a comfortable seated position, taking your time. So you can either sit cross-legged or with the legs out, and just take a moment here to stretch your neck, your shoulders. And of course, I couldn't pass up the opportunity for us to practice a few rounds of breath of joy. So if you've never done this pranayama before, it's very energizing. It has a playful quality to it. So there's basically 4 parts. So the first part, I'm going to have you inhale and bring your arms to about shoulder length or shoulder height. And then you're going to inhale and go out to the side. And then your inhale going to reach up overhead. And then your exhale, kind of lean forward and go and sweep the arms back. And then we'll just do that a few times. Sound good? Little more relaxed sitting down. And I believe this is like a Kundalini style, but I'm just modifying it a little bit. Inhale forward. Inhale out. Inhale up. And inhale. 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 And 2 more. You got it, ladies. Inhale. Inhale. And clear that space. Last time. Inhale. 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 And let it go. Inhale. Inhale. And you can bring your hands to your laps here. Close your eyes and really try to feel the energy, the heat, whatever sensations might be building with that. So allow that mini breath practice to start to create a little more space in you to experience joy in your life, regardless of what is going on. And then we'll gently make our way to hands and knees for tabletop. So you can pad your knees if you need here. Do a few wrist circles or just kind of sway back and forth. Just kind of moving the energy throughout the whole body. So making it your own. If you want to take a little upward facing dog with the knees down, or press back into child's pose. Just let each movement in and of itself be joyful. So you can either stay with your organic flowing movement, or perhaps just do a few rounds of cats and cows to really prepare the spine for the remainder of the practice. Good, just a few more rounds here. Spread the fingers wide, build that nice strong base, nice adjustments. And then we'll settle into child's pose. So again, you're welcome to use your bolster here as a little place to rest. You're also welcome to turn your cheek to one side, and I will remind you halfway through if you'd like to balance out your neck on the other side. I think, at least for me, it's easy to associate child's pose with joy, because for most of the time, children seem to be way more expressive with joy, or with any emotions really, than we are as adults. My next door neighbor has 2 young boys, and the oldest is 3, and he just cracks me up because he'll just like pick a leaf or a stick up, and he's just like enthralled by this simple thing that we as adults would just totally pass by and not even notice. So whether you have children in your life or you can remember just a joyful moment with a child, try to embody that here in this pose. That sense of awe and wonder at even the simplest things. And remind yourself that joy doesn't have to be this big, explosive firework. It can be subtle and simple. So we're about halfway through. If you have your cheek to the right, go ahead and turn it to the left, or vice versa. And maybe inquire on this half of the pose, what is currently getting in the way of you experiencing daily joy, or joy in your daily life? And why? Why do you block yourself off from joy? Doing great. Use the breath. Let it expand and stretch you. Final minute here. Joy is not a thing. It's a state of being. Joy is not found outside. It is uncovered inside. Very slowly, if you want to add a little movement or come back into tabletop, that's where we'll meet next. Again, leaving space for a few counterbalances if you want to stretch a leg out to the side or behind. Just listen and feel and let each pose be joyful. Perhaps a down dog to stretch through the backs of your leg. Try not to think about it. Try to feel into it. And then we'll find our way back in tabletop. So we're going to do thread the needle. So go ahead and bring your left hand to the middle, maybe even slide your left knee back an inch or two. And then inhale, reach that right arm up. And then try to open just a little more. So let the hand kind of reach to the opposite side. And then exhale, weave it under and through, coming all the way down to the shoulder, the head. You can always prop yourself up with a bolster. But we're here for 2 minutes, which might seem like an eternity. Hopefully not. Focus on your breath. Focus on those peak moments of joy. Even if it wasn't your joy, even if it was the joy of a friend or a family member or your child, or even your pets getting excited to have their food at night. Where have you seen joy? Think about the hand that's weaved under, reaching for more moments of pure joy. Almost there. So very slowly start to make your way out the way you came in, reaching that right arm back up, spinning the heart to the side, reaching, opening, and then exhale, bring the right hand down. Now we switch. So right hand plants, right knee slides back. Inhale, the left arm floats high to the sky. And then exhale, weave it under. 2 minutes here. You can either tuck the right arm behind you, stretch it out in front of you. Again, just reposition it. What is one small thing that you often overlook that actually brings you joy? Carefully unthread the needle, sweeping the arm back up. Feel that stretch through the chest, through the shoulders. Open up to joy. And then exhale, come back down. Just press your hips back in child's pose here, just to reset. Then from here, I'm going to have you slide into Sphinx pose. So if you need to prop up your rib cage with your bolster, it's a good time to move your candle if it's not in a good position, just so you can do some brief candle gazing here. So just like you might have felt in that breath of joy, sort of a sense of lightness. Where in your body do you feel lightness, or have you felt lightness today? You release your expectations on what you think joy is supposed to look like or feel like, and just naturally allow joy to unfold. Steady the breath to steady the mind here. You're doing great. Almost there. So you're welcome to, excuse me, leave the bolster where it is, or you can slide it off to the side because our next pose is half frog. So you can take your right knee out, maybe crossing your arms, allowing the forehead to come down, and just letting your hip gently open. So in yogic teachings and philosophy, the word for joy is ananda, which can sometimes be translated as bliss or deep joy. And these teachings say that ananda is not an emotion. It is your natural state of being when the mind becomes still. Therefore, deep joy is not dependent on external conditions. It arises organically when we return or we remember our truest nature. I think to all of my peak moments of joy, and I have to say that probably most of them have been unexpected moments, spontaneous moments where I was just very absorbed in what was going on, or just excited or genuinely surprised. It wasn't this pre-planned thing, it just happened in the moment. So I really think that our expectations can really block us from experiencing joy or for allowing it to flow through and into us. So can you practice on the exhale, releasing your expectations of what joy is, what it's supposed to feel like, look like, when it's supposed to arrive, and to instead just hold space for it to fill you up when you are still, when you are present, when you are authentically you. Final 20 seconds here. So very gently send the leg back behind you. If you'd like to bend your knees, crisscross your feet, just to release any tension in the low back. And then set yourself up for the left side. Patting it if you need. And softening in here. So there's another word in the Yoga Sutras that's called santosha, which means contentment. And there's a passage in the sutras that says, from contentment, unsurpassed joy is attained. So what this suggests is that when we stop wishing or needing or trying to fix or change the moment, trying to have it be different than what it is, when we just accept, when we're content with what is, that is when joy arises. Surrendering opens the door to inner contentment. Gratitude is the key to that door. Really arises just with simple things like eating a piece of fruit very mindfully, savoring each bite, the flavors, the textures, or maybe listening to the birds or watching the sunrise. Even doing chores like washing dishes can bring joy if we're really present. Every moment can be a portal into joy. In this final minute, can you find one tiny detail to savor? The sensation of the breath, the flicker of the candles, or maybe the feel of the solid ground beneath you. From contentment, unsurpassed joy is attained. Slowly start to send the leg back behind you, rolling the ankles, adding that crisscross with the legs. And then we're going to move from the floor into downward facing dog. So take your time if you need a sip of water in between. It might feel good to extend your right leg to the sky, maybe take a few hip circles before sending your knee wide to the edge of the mat, just softly bringing it down to the inner wrist, using, if you need a little extra support under your hip here with your bolster, can come to your forearms, your blocks. And just peek back at your left foot and just make sure the ankle is, or the foot is fairly straight back and not all contorted. We're here for 4 minutes. Of course, listen to your body. If it gets to be painful, something you're not able to handle, find a different shape. You can always come back into child's pose or half butterfly. But use your breath here. So instead of letting the intensity of the pose distract you, can you use your breath? Can you distract your mind from focusing on the discomfort and focus instead on those moments, those peak moments of joy? Use the power of the mind to pull you away from the physical sensations. And it'll make the time much more bearable. Slow, steady breaths. Can you trust that joy comes without forcing or striving? It arises when we're present. Remember, you have the power to shift your attention away from the sensation and focus it to something else. Your light, your candle light, a different part of your body, your toes, maybe tuck the toes under. It's a really powerful method for dealing with pain, pain management. And we only have 30 seconds left. Almost there. Don't run away. Don't avoid. Joy can be found even in discomfort if you let it. Because we've been here for a little bit of time, be very conscientious as you start to undo the pose. So put the pressure into the hands. You might need to shift forward with the chest, coming back into child's pose or downward facing dog. And then taking a moment to set up for that left side. So if you're in down dog, send your left leg high to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip, maybe take a few little circles. You can also do this from tabletop if that's a little too much. And then take the knee wide here. We really want the hips coming into the middle of the mat. So you shouldn't be leaning to one side. And if you are, send your knee a little further out. As you breathe into the space that you've created and the shape that you're in, can you let joy quietly settle into this openness? Can you surround yourself with joy? If you start to focus in on the pain, can you practice shifting your attention somewhere else, to the breath, to the feeling of the air against your skin? Where your attention goes, energy flows. So when we focus on the pain, we end up energizing the pain and making it worse. But you can consciously shift to lessen the intensity of whatever it is you're experiencing. This week I signed up for this free webinar about giving birth. And the woman had everybody hold an ice cube in their palm for about 30 seconds to a minute. And it was really kind of uncomfortable and distracting. And then she gave us a break and we did it again. But this time she did a guided meditation where she had, while you were holding the ice, think about a beach or an ocean or just like feeling really relaxed or swaying in a hammock. And believe it or not, the time went faster and you couldn't really feel the ice as much. So again, it's just to show the power that we have. We just have to practice moving it around. The glorious sound of the bell. That might be bringing you joy in this moment. Gently make your way up. You can roll around or make your way back up to down dog. We'll do one last seated pose here. Grab a sip of water if you need. So you can either stay forward on your mat or just turn sideways here, and we won't be here long. So setting up for just that straddle fold. I think in Yin they call it dragonfly. Relax your legs, your neck. You can prop up your forearms on the block or on the bolster. Just a minute here. It'll feel so short compared to what you're used to. So allowing the space between your legs here to symbolize the space that we need to create for joy to flow in. Joy cannot flow in if we're closed off, if we're shut down, if we're disconnected. We have to remain open, present, and grounded. See, fastest minute ever. So it might feel good before you bring the legs together just to take the hands behind your hips. Maybe bend the elbows just to allow the chest to open, just to make a little more space. And then you can slowly start to bring the legs together here. To spin around, and we're going to take supported bridge on the wall. So you can do this with your sacrum flat on the ground. So you don't need to be right up next to the wall. And if you want, you can set the block up, the bolster up, or that might feel enough as it is. So again, just give yourself a second to kind of experiment. So think bridge pose, but use the wall. Just releasing the low back. "15 more seconds here in this elevated position." So you're welcome to stay on the block or bolster, but next we're going to come into our full frog on the wall. So it might actually feel better to come all the way down. So think full frog is very much like goddess pose, where the heels are turned in and the toes are out. So the toes are pointing to the edges of the room, and your hands can be at your inner thighs. Stay with the breath. And remember, you have the power to choose what and where your focus is. So instead of focusing on heaviness in the body, can you shift and focus more on that lightness? The lightness of the breath, the light in the heart. "30 seconds. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. So slowly bring the thighs, the knees together, and now you can bring your legs up the wall. Scoot close. You can either have your hips propped up or just let your back come all the way down, whatever feels the most comfortable for you. We're here for 5 minutes. One last little wisdom drop here for you. There's a term in Buddhism called mudita, M-U-D-I-T-A. And mudita is the joy that arises from being genuinely happy for others' happiness. So cultivating this expands our own capacity for joy by shifting from comparison or a scarcity mindset into appreciation and abundance. This practice of being genuinely happy for when other people are happy is a counterbalance to envy and jealousy, and is a powerful practice for opening our hearts. When you see someone succeed, be glad. Their happiness waters the seeds of your own joy.
You're welcome to stay here on the wall, maybe finding a different shape, or if you'd like to return to laying on your mat or curling up to one side. Deep joy followed by deep rest. See if you can take a breath in through the nose and then exhale by blowing the air out through the mouth. And again, inhale through the nose. Exhale like you're extinguishing a candle. Final round, inhale. Exhale, release. So gratitude is the key. Surrendering opens the door so that joy can flow through. Let joy flow through your whole body here. Your entire being. Open to the flow of joy.
Very slowly start to bring your awareness back into your body. Add some movement in through the wrists, the fingers, the ankles, the toes, before gently bending your knees and curling up on your right or left side. Thinking about the seeds of your joy being watered and nourished and cared for. Open your heart to receive this final blessing. May you know the kind of joy that doesn't need to be loud, the kind that is content just to be, the joy of breath, of rest, of simplicity. May this joy walk beside you quietly, steadily, even in the in-between. When you feel ready, slowly start to come back to a seated position. Take your time, moving slowly.